my business, I think the success has been based on, service. Knowing your customer, knowing how to service them, being honest in business, and knowing what you're best at and delivering that. I think that sort of sums it up, service.
A love of fashion is my contributing. I just always want long-term plans, concentrating on quality, fit, and making garments that are flattering. Women will not buy something unless it's flattering. So that is and consistency is very important also.
Dion's and his design team are very talented, and they've managed to really, I guess, do their own thing over the years and focus on our brand and not try and copy anyone else, and I think that's been really well received. And then I think having a very strong financial partner that we've had in Q, who came on board about 4 years ago, not only to sort of fund the brand's growth, but also to use their experience and their resources, has been a massive factor for us in our success.
Over the last 5 years, we realised that our business needed to change to adapt to the future of retail. And we decided that we wanted to acquire or partner with people in the industry to bring disruptive brands to the market so that we had relevance. And over the last 4 years, we have partnered with 3 brands, acquired 2 brands, and we have been successful in providing the consumer something different.
I don't think you're allowed to be one thing in this world now. I think you have to have an understanding of how all of these worlds come together. My own success has definitely been about a lot of experience and a multifaceted approach where I am a true engineer of clothes. I know how to cut and sew them. I am a real creative thinker around an idea and what narrative I want to create or what I want to discuss.
We're now part of a global market. There's some people that, they look at Australia and think 24 million people, it's wonderful, that's a big business to cater to. Whereas other people, and so they want to stay local. But then there's other people that look at it and go, the percentage of what I want in this market is so small that I need to look globally. So I think the great thing about the internet has opened up so many opportunities for people to distribute, globally, market globally, but also at the same time you can, concentrate on the Australian market as well.
I think this seasonality is something that a lot of brands find a really big challenge in this market. So once they've had a successful business there and they want to expand internationally into the Northern Hemisphere, then, how do you work out those seasons? We've got winter product and it's summer there, so that's been a challenge for us too, and we've really just worked around that, and in the end I think every collection is a little bit trans-seasonal, and that's just the way we have to do it, and that actually works okay for us, so that's not too bad. But yeah, I think you can start a brand in Australia and obviously be very successful internationally.
The market was even smaller at the beginning when I first started. Don't forget, I started in 1965. So the market was minute. There was no Australian really fashion drive and not a great deal of fashion consciousness. So, but that changed over the time, over my career. I found more women going to work and being more interested in what they were wearing and how they looked.
Australia is wonderful in that it's very open, so we just love new ideas. We're like the innovators of the world. The McDonald's or all the Nestle's, all the big fast-moving consumer goods, they all do their tests in Australia because they find that if Australians pick it up, the rest of the world will pick it up because we're just like, oh, there's something new, we're so excited.
Fashion is a tricky world. You cannot predict where fashion is going to go. I think the online factor is a very big factor, and you have to be in that. That's part of the future.
I think we're going to see brands controlling more of their direct-to-consumer channels, so wholesale continuing to be a little bit challenging, but brands being able to sell through whether it's own retail, concession, online marketplaces, or through social media. I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see centres changing their mix maybe a little bit towards more entertainment services as the foot traffic is obviously dropping.
Well, I think borders and boundaries have completely been pulled down now, so you can expand your business globally. But I think one of the most important things that I feel is going to be relevant for the next 5 years and beyond is the sustainability. I was reading somewhere the other day that someone said we're using this earth as if there's an alternative somewhere else. No, we've actually got to look after this earth. So I think the sustainability in the fashion industry is an extremely important thing that every business has to look at. And I think that we're raising a generation of young kids today who are questioning, where did their product come from? How was it made? Who made it? Did they get paid a livable wage? So I think they're very important questions that every business, not just fashion, has to be asking.
I think the challenge is to keep the longevity, because we always love something new, so it's why are you always staying relevant to those people? And I feel like for me, that's been a lot about building personal relationships with people. I think you're seeing this really interesting move back to like customer events in store. So I have both each for my boutiques, I'm in store once a season to talk through the season and talk about the collection and my inspiration behind the collection and the iterations of it and all of the details and the drape and the form and why it's this form, not that form. And I think also in my website we've been starting to do these stories on the world and like a little mini film which goes through all of my inspiration. So it's trying to demystify all of the layers that are behind all of the process and find a way to represent and tell those stories in a way that grabs people's attention and engages them and really gives them an insight that it's not, oh, you didn't just randomly put like this insert into the back of the jacket for no reason. It was because it was all about this idea of having a very masculine front and these feminine backs and this idea of humanity and nature and the balance between. I think understanding all of those contexts and layers is probably my focus for me to build my understanding and relationship with my customers.
Fashion always interprets what's going on in the world, and I guess maybe you would think today, but there's just so much going on in fashion. It's not all leading to the same point, but I think it's now the customer is really trying to find their tribe, their group that they identify with, and I think every brand is reflecting, I guess, what's relevant for their customer base.
I think yes. You look at what Dior's doing at the moment and pushing the feminist front. Fashion brands got involved in marriage equality around the world. There was one designer in Paris just recently and they brought attention to refugees and what was happening there. So yes, I'm not sure that I ever say that fashion is art, but I think it's part of that creative industry that reflects what's happening in the world.
I find that there are definitely stories going on across fashion that are talking to how our place is in the world today, what we are feeling, what women are looking for. I mean, I even think the fact that there are maxis, minis, midis, all at the same time, it is a conversation about women. It's a conversation that women have 100 different worlds and 100 different lives, and they can be as the kind of woman that wears a power suit with a nipped-in waist and wears then a maxi on the weekend. So I think there isn't as clarity about it, but there's definitely many levels of it that you see reflected in society.
The drive of something new and something different can be a bit distracting, and young designers particularly get rather distracted and lose their way. Because I've been there for so long, and I understand that you cannot lose the integrity of your brand. You cannot lose what you're there, what you love, because that is what people come to you for. They come for something which is very you, very special, that you're very proud of. So I think it's important not to lose your way by the fashion trends and the chaos of fashion today.
I think, again, that fast fashion is a cycle. And I think people are starting to question, I keep calling it, there's this thing I have, which is called the full wardrobe syndrome. And I think people are feeling guilty that their wardrobe is packed. And if they buy something, they can't get it in the wardrobe, so they have to get rid of something. And I think people are questioning, do I keep needing to buy, short hits all the time, or do I want to buy something with a bit more investment in mind? But then there's other businesses like Vestiaire, The Real, Grail, I think is another one, where people are now using these sites to on-sell product that they don't need in their wardrobe anymore. So that's giving it a second life. And that's another form of sustainability as well. Rather than tossing it out and becoming landfill, it finds a home somewhere else.
There'll always be the more part of the industry where more is more, and I think you'll see this kind of little separation where there'll be these brands where more isn't more, and it's about having 120 incredibly resolved, refined, well-tailored pieces rather than 250 of those pieces that are just not as considered, not as well-fitting, not as precious. And because there is more out there, I think people realize they don't need another thing in their wardrobe. They need something really special that adds something.
I mean, we have to rise to the challenge. If you don't provide the customer with continual newness, I think your brand will fall away because there are a lot of brands competing and there's a lot of competition. We don't partake in traditional fashion shows predominantly. We've done a couple, but we don't stick to that regime because I feel the customer is wanting to see something and buy it and wear it straight away, not wait 6 months before it gets delivered into the store. So we have to be giving the customer newness constantly.
I've worked really hard to build sustainability into my business through having all of my manufacturing's in Australia, and for me that maintains a level of quality, a level of scale, and also this reactiveness that you have to the market and this skills and craftsmanship that you build up with your makers by them being so close to you so that you can really refine your products to get the highest level of excellence in it.
I find today that with every client, either an established client or a new client, the questions I'm asking is, how are you looking at the sustainability of your business? We talk about sustainability. That doesn't have to just be about how a product's made and where it's made. It has to be about the sustainability of the profitability of your business. Because you can have all these wonderful beliefs, but if you're not profitable, you can't actually put them into motion.
The brand needs to understand the values of the customer, and that the customer wants to see those values in the brand as well. And definitely customers are much more interested now in ethical sourcing and sustainability, and if the brands need to recognise that and make sure they're on top of it if they want to keep those customers.
We have a responsibility to the planet, and we have a responsibility to the consumer. I think the consumer won't look at brands that are not thinking about the environment going forward. So it's something that we are involved in and that we're working on constantly.
For me, it's about really having something to say with what you're doing, and really, and what you're saying, connecting really to another world. So that's everything from, I suppose for me, pushing yourself creatively to find something that's a unique product, a unique idea. It's also getting closer to women, who they are, how they're feeling, how you're responding to them, how you're translating their experiences of life. And for me, that's always also looking at historically, where are we today to where we're going to be in the future. How can you translate all of these experiences to a wider audience, and I suppose really finding the voice and clarifying that voice, because if you're projecting to people who don't know your context or where you context, who are you and what does Bianca Spender mean to them? So really working out how to translate that for them.
Product development is always something you want to invest in. Don't stop investing in that. It's really what you're all about. But at the moment we're finding social media is a really great tool that is really working for us to promote the brand, and I think that's something where you can invest in the right skills, invest in the right strategy there.
I think at the moment we are investing in online and also the customer experience in store. That's very important, because if they come to your store, they're interested in your brand. So make that experience really exciting, and we work very hard with our team to create that environment, to create that wonderful service factor. Also, online is a great tool for marketing. So that's the opportunity, and growing that is very important.